Hello and welcome for a new edition of MOPs Talks. Today with Anne-Charlotte, Operation Director of Kaspr. And we're here today to talk about PLG motion. And Anne-Charlotte will share with us some great tips to have a successful PLG strategy. Anne-Charlotte, maybe you want to present a little bit Kaspr?
Yeah, thank you. Hello, everyone, and thank you, Julien, for having me here on the MOPs Talk. Glad to be here. So I'm Anne-Charlotte, Director of Operations here at Kaspr, working since years now at Kaspr, almost 6 years. So we have seen a lot of things during the past years. Really interesting things. I had the time to test a lot of things. Obviously, we will go in more details, but Kaspr is almost pure PLG. Well, we tend to be pure PLG. So it will be interesting, yes, to talk about what we have implemented, what we have tested, what worked, what didn't, and to share with you all.
Perfect, perfect. So maybe just to make it clear before, because we hear a lot of PLG, quick definition, what is PLG versus SLG? So PLG is product-led growth versus, we often present it against or in comparison with SLG, which is sales-led growth, and PLG is basically a way to generate business and revenue directly from the product motion without, or mostly without, involving the sales team in the way, right? So maybe Anne-Charlotte, before starting on tips on the PLG, one important question and thing that we often hear is, am I ready to do PLG? What are the conditions to fulfill to be able to start having a PLG motion and a PFG strategy today?
Yeah. What is important to note is that you can decide to be pure PLG, but you can be both PLG and SLG. For many years, Kaspr has been both, with a majority of the efforts being led by the product itself, but we were still having the sales team working on major deals that the product could not close by himself. So it's important to keep in mind that you don't have to choose. Basically, it really depends on the resource you have first internally in your company. Is like, do you have more resource like around the sales team? Do you have more resource around the product team? And how do you want to split this resource? Obviously, a PLG model will mostly be driven by the product itself, so it needs product efforts occurring to make sure that the product always fits the need of the customer. While just on the sales part, it needs the best approach from the sales team, be able to give arguments against competitors about the project, etc. So it's not the same resource, and mostly of the cases, like, your choice will be based on what you currently have or where you want to go. Then based on also the project you have, I would say you have better opportunities to be as a PLG company or to be an SLG company. Let's say that you work in a company with a very low amount of prospects, like you are in a niche, not to lose any opportunities, right? So you want to talk to everyone, basically. So a SLG model will be more like, will suit more than a PLG model. Where the PLG model, where you have a large target audience, such as Kaspr, where we prospect all sales, basically all sales team or HR teams. Like, it's very, very large. It's mostly in Europe, so we talk about thousands and thousands of customers or prospects. So we can focus on very specific companies with our sales team, but the product team itself will target everyone, and so we make sure that we can attract as much customers as possible. That's one of the first insights. Yeah, I would say.
Cool. So anything which is like super target, like top tier or top accounts, you will target them with the sales team. And for the rest, more mid market or the rest of the market you want to address, you will try to push them via the product workshop, right?
Exactly. A second criteria I would say is your model complex or not? Like, meaning, is it hard to explain it to your customer? If so, a real person would be more suitable for it. While if it's something really easy, you click here, you try, you test here, and you purchase here. That's really easy, and the project can do it by by itself? Do you need, do you have just a payment flow on your platform? Then it will, of course, help the PLG model to boost. If the payment process is complicated, the sales team will be better for that.
Okay, so the user interface, I guess this is what's important here, is that it's easy to navigate, easy to understand the product on its own, and to understand what to do with it.
Yeah.
Kaspr, how do you balance actually the efforts you put on the UX versus the new features you want to deliver? Because I guess there is a real thread, right, on the resources from the dev team to put in this type of things.
Yeah, in our case, we have built Kaspr since the beginning to be a PLG model. So in terms of UX UI, every single features we have launched or anything regarding the interface has been made to make it easy for the end customer. So today we don't allocate that much on the UX UI. Like we do when we build new features, of course, but we don't have a lot of work around that today because it has been done step by step in the past. If you are not today a PLG company and you want to build your interface regarding that, you will focus first on the UX UI, and when the flow is great, then you can focus back on the features. Today, Casper's priority is pure features, AI, and make sure that the sales or HR that are using our tool can benefit as much as possible from the tool.
Cool. Cool, cool. I've seen as well some, because I know that there is some company that try to transition from a more traditional SLG model toward the PLG. So they might not be ready. They might not have a payment wall implemented or something. So it's true that sometimes I've seen this typical, you've got this kind of initial PLG motion where the payment step is just a contact us, give a request, not give a request, but contact sales request to upgrade, right? That might be an intermediate until you can make it full, right?
Exactly. Or as an intermediate, like we are like we see that in like with a lot of SaaS companies today is that you have your 14 days trial, sorry, where you can sign up by yourself, test the product by yourself, but at the end you will always have to reach out to a sales person. So you can test first the product yourself, and then you can enter to a sales conversion. So both here happens, and I think that's the most common um, way that we see today for both PLG and SLG companies.
The good thing with that is you can still identify better who are the users that are more engaged with your product. So you can focus your sales on people that are most likely to convert, right?
Exactly. And people are like, they have signed up, they give all the information, so it's easier as well to contact them by phone or email. They most likely have invited their teams as well. So you have different points of contacts as well. And of course, product usage. When you have a better product usage, you obviously know that the conversation to close the deal will be easier, or not around the product itself, but more on the negotiation part, rather than if someone has tested your product but never tested it, actually. Like you have to take the conversation from the beginning and show how the tool works.
Sure. Cool. Anything else that you will take into account before trying to move toward a PLG motion?
Um, Last one maybe, but like it's not a secret. I think is as well like the strategy that both marketing and revenue team are considering is, do you want to show your pricing upfront or not? Or do you do the same pricing for every customers or not? Based on the transparency you want to have with your prospects, you also decide if you want to be a PLG or SLG companies. Um, that's why we show all the pricing. People like, yeah, it's very transparent. While pure SLG companies, they say like, if you want to have a quote, reach out to the sales team. So can be another aspect.
Yeah, definitely. Makes sense. Makes sense. So mostly we have the market volume, the simplicity and UX of the product, and the price transparency, right? That might
That's what I
impact
would
a
say.
lot on, yeah, that will impact a lot on whether or not we can be ready to try to start the PLG motion. Cool. Maybe can you tell us a bit how you guys are actually organized, and the mix you have between PLG and SLG, so we can maybe use it as an example?
Yep. At Tesla, I would say 80% of the revenue is made from PLG, and 90% of the customers are PLG. So it means 10% SLG, bringing 20% of the revenue, and the rest is PLG. We don't have like a big sales team compared to the volume of users we have coming to Kaspr, because we want to focus as much as we can on the product side. So basically, we now have only one sales that is like running all the requests through sales, and we try to focus as much as possible on the high intense potential prospects directly redirected to this salesperson, and the rest, even if it's someone that is requesting a sales touch or something like that, we first try to send as much content as possible via email, in-app, help center, etc. And we also have what we call support assisted team, which is not really a sales team, but it's like a real team behind that is answering to all the questions a prospect might have, that does not require specific negotiation, but he wants to be reassured, like he wants to be sure about the purchase he's going to make and how the tool works, how he can invite the team, etc. So we have support assisted, support assisted that help, that can be in contact directly with the person without being a real sales touch. So it's a bit different. We don't like do quotes. The user will still do all the flow online, but with the support being assisted by a support. Yeah.
Nice. I mean, cool, interesting. So the basically you will end out to your sales rep only the like super high quality, high intense leads that are requesting for support, for sales support to convert, right?
Exactly. What we have done is that we have analyzed the top um, customers we had in the past and the common criteria they had. Like we don't do like we did in the past, scoring, grading, etc. But we have seen that it's sometimes we might like we have lost some opportunities because we haven't seen the potential prospects. So what we do now is that we have identified common criteria between the previous top customers, and when we have one of those criteria that match, then we assign to the sales. The rest will be support assisted or by themselves if they prefer by themselves.
Okay. And actually, this is a good point because I mean, with most of the company we worked, I think this is one of the big topic is what are the product signals, the information I can capture from product that I can use to identify if the user is more ready to convert or not. We spoke a lot about so there is this grading scoring that we do on the traditional motion, lead generation or demand generation, but there is this kind of PQL score that we can have now, trying to understand at what moment the user is ready to buy. How do you guys understood what those signals was?
Yeah, so we have analyzed the entire funnel of and the path the best customers will go through to pay. So basically, it starts at Kaspr with the sign up, then with the Chrome extension download, then with the first credit spends in our case, and we have made like main milestones to achieve. And what we have done based on that is that okay, until the user hasn't go through this major step, we push him the correct communication to download the correct extension, let's say. If he has if he has spent at least one credit, we know on like based on the analysis we have done that this is the aha moment, and that when a user is like spends at least one credit, he is more likely to pay. So our main goal is to have the user to spend at least one credit, and when the credit is being spent, we send specific in-app, mostly in-app communication to boost either to the purchase, but also to discover the other features. So we don't lose ourselves by sending different communication about all the different features we have, but we just go step by step. Oh, you haven't downloaded the Chrome extension. When it's done, oh, you haven't spent your credits. So then the user spend the credit, and then we can give just like more arguments, but only at this time to the user to just give him more confidence in the product itself, so he can pay.
Like, okay. And actually, to identify those aha moments, you mentioned analysis. What type of analysis did you do? Because
So we have implemented Mixpanel, which is an analytics tool. We have basically pushed in Mixpanel all the product data we could have. So we have in real time data, in real time the data we want to see for basically everyone. Then we can filter by free user, paid user, Is it like based in France, in the UK, in Spain, etc.? So we can like split all the data we have by different analysis. Have the different funnel on the drop of points we have mainly on the product and the main path the user are taking to purchase. And so we just like focus on this main path and to make sure to reduce the drop of points between each of the steps. And that's how we focus the product strategy of product marketing strategy.
Okay, cool. Nice. And you mentioned that actually you're doing a lot of in-app message or emails to push actually this usage and try to push them to do what you want them to do. Uh, what are actually the actual actions and strategy you do to try to push your user from free to pay?
So we use Intercom
Okay.
for the chat. It's mainly for the chat. Initially, it was for the chat, but they have released new features as well that allow us to launch in-app messagings. Since Intercom is directly linked to Salesforce, we have all the information related to each of the users with as well. Like again, all the information, like the most important product data information, but also all the information regarding the user, the company, etc. So we are able to display specific messages and personalized messaging to different type of users. It can be banners, it can be tooltips, it can be tutorials. Like they have the different possibilities. And based on the message, if you want it to be like different, based on the format we want to display to the user, we just select and we put the criteria to be for those to receive this information, and they will have when they will go in the in-app. If we see that the product activity is low, obviously sending in-app messaging would not work because he's not in the product. So in that case, we'll send email communication.
Okay. So mostly email and in-app com.
Yeah.
This is the two
But
main sources. Okay. And I think that Intercom has also launched a new AI function, right, to actually try to answer to the user like automatically, like
yeah,
using this feature.
and
So
and that's why we are also able today to have this support assisted service that I was talking about, because like we have thousands of users signing up a week, which like and the chatbot is very accessible, it's open to everyone, but we were like having too many conversation about this like very similar topics that we already talk in our help center or the website or other resources. So we have integrated in Intercom the help center. All of our article related to the product usage are hosted in Intercom, which is linked as well to the AI of Intercom. So anyone that is directly talking to us on the chat, it's first with the AI that will answer to the person. As I was mentioning, Intercom is synchronized with Salesforce, so we know who is the person. Like the AI knows who is the person, if it's a customer, what is the plan of the customer. So to be like to have an answer very detailed and not only reading the help center article basically. And if the AI can't like if the user don't find the good answer he wants or he's expecting, then he can directly decide to talk to the support assistant team.
cool, nice, interesting. So three tools, no? The AI, the mix panel, and some email tool, and you can
Mostly
push.
yes. We do a lot in Intercom and Mixpanel to analyze everything. That's the and obviously then CRM, etc. But in terms of helping the PLG motion, Intercom and Mixpanel is the implement.
Perfect. And so this is how you will push the free to become paid. Is there any specificities in at the time to acquire a user for your self service? How do you acquire a new user? How do you push people to start and try your product?
Yeah. So I would say we use the basic of the marketing, SEA,
Yeah.
SEO. Like I think that like any marketing team will do. I would say. In addition to that, and what we have seen really great progress so far this year, specifically this year, is the affiliation and the partnerships. Since Kaspr is a PLG, it can be sold by the product itself, but also by a partner, a reseller, a freelancer, by basically anyone that knows how the tool works. So we have implemented the affiliation when anyone can join the program and suggest Casper to any other companies where they take a commission, of course, based on that. And so it's not our sales team that is bringing those type of customer. Usually it's in-person customers as well. Annually in terms of revenue. Yeah, we have now more than 500 affiliates in our programs. So yeah, no, it's looking very promising, and the growth we have with that is incredible.
Awesome. So PLG acquisition as well.
So yeah, it's kind of PLG acquisition. For those who are interested, we are using Partner Stack, um, which help us to have the great visibility in the affiliates community, I would say. Um, I mean, that's efforts we don't like here. It's affiliates that work alongside with us without being directly in the team. It's very scalable, and the return on investment is very interesting.
Thanks a lot, and so it's super interesting. I think this is a great wrap up with the 30 minutes we've got to understand how PLG work or few tips to start doing it. So thanks a lot for sharing all of this with us. Super nice for you to share.
Always a pleasure.
Thanks a lot. See you soon.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye bye.